Some people don't react to your presence with obvious hostility. They don't always confront you. They don't always insult you. They don't even always say anything wrong, but something shifts. They get awkward, a little cold, a little defensive, a little too eager to humble you, a little too quiet when you speak, a little too strange when you're doing well. And if you've felt this before, you know how confusing it is, because from the outside, nothing dramatic happened. You just walked in, spoke normally, carried yourself a certain way, maybe even stayed quiet, and somehow that was enough. Let me ask you something early, because I think this is the kind of topic that people feel before they have words for it. Have you ever noticed someone's energy change around you for no clear reason? And what gave it away first? Their tone, their silence, their passive aggression, or the way they acted when other people were around? That question usually brings up a face immediately, because this is real, and it's not always about jealousy in the simple sense. It's not always about hatred. It's not always about you doing something wrong. Sometimes your presence quietly threatens certain people because it activates something in them they don't want to face. That's the deeper layer. And this is where the Carl Jung angle really matters. Jung understood that people don't just respond to other people objectively. They respond through their own unconscious, through their shadow, through insecurity, through projection, through the parts of themselves they've disowned or buried. So sometimes what threatens people is not your words. It's what your existence reflects back to them. Your calm may threaten their chaos. Your self-respect may threaten their self-betrayal. Your discipline may threaten their excuses. Your authenticity may threaten their mask. Your peace may threaten the drama they secretly depend on. That's what we're getting into. Not in a dramatic, everyone is intimidated by you kind of way, but in a more honest way, a more useful way. Because once you understand why certain people react strangely to your presence, you stop taking every weird shift personally. You start reading the room more clearly. You stop shrinking unnecessarily. And you stop over-explaining yourself to people who are never reacting to your surface anyway. So let's go straight into it. Here are 7 reasons your presence quietly threatens certain people. 1. Your presence exposes the gap between who they are and who they pretend to be. This is one of the deepest reasons. A lot of people are not living from their real self. They're living from an image, a role, a performance, a carefully managed version of themselves. They know how to sound right, look right, act right, fit the room, say what works, and then they meet someone whose energy feels more real, more grounded, less performative, less eager, less dependent on applause. That can be threatening. Not because you're trying to challenge them, but because your presence makes the gap between their mask and their reality feel bigger. Jung called that mask the persona, the social self, the acceptable self, the self people build so they can function and be approved of. The problem is, if someone becomes too attached to that persona, they start feeling exposed around people who carry more inner coherence. Your authenticity puts pressure on their performance, even if you're not saying much, even if you're just being yourself. That's why certain people get weirdly uncomfortable around calm, real, self-contained people, because they feel the contrast. And contrast is hard to tolerate when someone is secretly tired of pretending. They may not consciously think, "This person is making me aware of how much I perform." They'll just feel tense, irritated, defensive, less at ease. That's how quiet threat works. Not through force, through exposure. And if you've ever been told you're too intense when you were just being honest, or hard to read when you were simply not performing, this may be a big part of why. 2. Your self-respect removes the usual access points people rely on. Some people are very comfortable around people they can influence, people who explain too much, people who bend too easily, people who can be guilted, people who can be rushed. people who need approval, people who panic when misunderstood. But when they meet someone with more self-respect, something changes. Now the usual access points aren't there. They can't pull you into endless self-defense. They can't easily make you over-explain. They can't get quick emotional control through disapproval, silence, or pressure. They can't steer the interaction as smoothly, and that threatens people who are used to relational leverage. They may not say, "I'm uncomfortable because I can't access you the way I access others." But that's often exactly what's happening. Your self-respect blocks unconscious manipulation, and to emotionally weak people, that feels threatening. Jung would probably say that people who have not developed real inner authority often try to create external authority over others, not always in obvious ways, sometimes through guilt, sometimes through neediness, sometimes through subtle emotional dominance. So when your presence communicates, "I'm not available for that," it disturbs them, because now they have to relate to you honestly, not strategically, and many people are far less comfortable with honest relating than they look. That's why your boundaries alone can make certain people uneasy. Not because you're harsh, because you're no longer easy to move. 3. Your calmness makes their inner noise harder to ignore. This is a big one. A calm presence does something strange to unstable people. It doesn't always comfort them. Sometimes it agitates them. If someone is internally chaotic, overthinking, insecure, performative, manipulative, emotionally noisy, a calm person can feel like still water, and still water reflects everything. That's why some people start talking too much around you, over-explaining, fidgeting, acting weirdly defensive, filling silence they normally wouldn't notice. It's not always because you said anything powerful. Sometimes your steadiness simply gives them less distraction from themselves. Jung understood that what is unconscious often becomes louder in the presence of consciousness, and that's what calmness can do. It creates a field where other people feel themselves more clearly, their anxiety, their dishonesty, their insecurity, their contradiction. And if someone has spent years surviving through noise, charm, or surface-level energy, your calm can feel confronting, not because it is aggressive, because it doesn't help them escape. So yes, some people are quietly threatened by your calm, because your calm removes some of the fog they hide in. That's why they may call you intimidating when you're just composed, cold when you're just self-contained, serious when you're just not emotionally leaking everywhere. What they're really reacting to is the fact that your presence makes them feel their own inner state more clearly, and they may not like what they find there. 4. Your growth forces them to confront what they are avoiding. Sometimes your presence threatens people simply because you changed. You got healthier, more focused, more grounded, more disciplined, more selective, less needy, less available for nonsense. And now old dynamics don't fit as easily. That can be deeply unsettling for people who knew the older version of you, because your growth is not just personal, it's relational. It changes what they can get from you. It changes how they compare themselves to you. It changes the role they used to occupy in your life. Jung would probably say that growth disrupts unconscious agreements. Every relationship has them. One person is more dependent, one person is more needed, one person is more chaotic, one person is more stable, one person plays smaller, one person feels a little more powerful, then one person grows, and suddenly the agreement starts cracking. Now the other person has to adapt or feel threatened, and a lot of people would rather feel offended than evolve. That's why your growth can quietly threaten certain people. Not because growth is arrogant, not because you're better than them, but because your evolution is exposing their refusal to evolve. That's hard to sit with, especially if your growth is happening without noise, without preaching, without trying to prove anything. Those are the most threatening kinds of growth, actually. The kind that just becomes visible, and if somebody is still emotionally attached to the version of you that was easier to manage, easier to compare against, or easier to feel superior to, they may become noticeably uncomfortable around the new you, not because you attacked them, because your life started asking them questions they don't want to answer. 5. Your silence makes projection easier, and that unsettles people. This one is subtle, but powerful. People often feel more threatened by quiet people than by loud people. Why? Because silence creates space, and space gets filled with projection. If you're not constantly explaining yourself, reassuring everyone, filling every moment with words, people start imagining things. If they're insecure, they think you're judging them. If they're fake, they think you can see through them. If they're envious, they think you feel superior. If they're dishonest, they think your silence means you noticed something. That's why some people become restless around quiet presence. They don't know what you're thinking. They can't easily place themselves. They can't control the meaning of your stillness. And that uncertainty becomes threatening. Jung talked a lot about projection, how people place their own hidden material onto others instead of confronting it within themselves. Silence intensifies projection because there is less surface material to grab onto. So they fill the gap with themselves, their fear, their comparison, their insecurity, their assumptions. That's why certain people act especially weird around someone who doesn't overtalk. They're not always responding to what you are. They're responding to what they are projecting into your quiet. And because projection feels real to the person doing it, their discomfort becomes real too. This is why saying less often makes you more respected by some people, and more threatening to others. Respect from those who understand steadiness. Threat from those who need more reassurance than your energy is willing to provide. 6. Your integrity reminds them where they betray themselves. This one goes deep. Sometimes your presence threatens people not because you're flashy, but because you're consistent. Your words match your energy. Your values show up in your behavior. Your boundaries actually mean something. Your no sounds like no. Your yes sounds like yes. That kind of integrity is rare. And rare things create contrast. A lot of people are not lying to others all day. They're lying to themselves about what they want, what they tolerate, what they're afraid of, what kind of life they're really living, how much of themselves they keep betraying just to stay liked, safe, or convenient. So when they meet someone whose life has a little more internal alignment, it presses on something painful. Because now they can feel their own inconsistency more sharply. Jung would say that people often resent in others what reveals their own division. That's what's happening here. Your integrity reminds them where they compromise. Your self-trust reminds them where they still abandon themselves. Your directness reminds them where they hide. And not everybody turns that into admiration. Some turn it into irritation. Because irritation is easier than changing. This is why people with quiet integrity often get called intimidating, too much, or hard to approach. Not because they're unkind, because their coherence creates pressure, and pressure reveals cracks. That's threatening to people who survive by staying fragmented and calling it normal. 7. Your presence threatens people who need to feel superior to feel safe. This is probably the bluntest reason. Some people are only comfortable in relationships where they feel slightly above you, slightly more admired, slightly more stable, slightly more needed, slightly more powerful, slightly more desired, slightly more important. That sense of superiority is not just ego for them, it's safety. It helps them manage their insecurity. So when you show up with confidence, calm, growth, depth, boundaries, or natural self-possession, it quietly destabilizes that safety. Now they can't feel above in the same easy way. Now the hierarchy in their mind gets disturbed. Now they're not sure where they stand, and weak people often react badly when the emotional ladder they were standing on starts shaking. This is when they may become more competitive, more dismissive, more sarcastic, more withholding, more weirdly cold, not because you challenge them directly, because your presence challenged the position they were using to feel okay about themselves. Jung would likely say that ego structures built on comparison are extremely fragile. They depend on external arrangement, not real inner worth. So when that arrangement changes, those people feel threatened very quickly. That's why some people only seem relaxed around you when you're struggling, uncertain, self-doubting, or easy to read. Your strength is not comfortable for them. Not because strength is bad, because they don't know who they are without someone beneath them. And once you see that, you stop trying so hard to decode every strange shift in tone. Sometimes the answer is simple. Your presence threatened a version of safety they built on feeling stronger than someone else. What exactly does this mean for you? Now this part matters, because the goal here is not to walk around assuming everybody is secretly threatened by you. That becomes ego too. The goal is clarity. To understand that not every strange reaction means you did something wrong. Not every cold tone means you need to shrink. Not every awkward energy means you need to over-explain, soften yourself, or make yourself easier to digest. Sometimes your presence is just hitting something real in people. And some people are mature enough to handle that. They become curious, respectful, inspired, reflective. Others don't. They become defensive, competitive, passive-aggressive, quietly resentful, socially strange. That's not always your burden to carry. Jung would say the real task is to stay conscious. Stay conscious enough not to over-identify with how others react to you. Stay conscious enough not to become arrogant because you can feel the effect you have. Stay conscious enough not to betray your own growth just to make unconscious people more comfortable. That's the middle path. Not shrinking, not inflating, just seeing clearly. So why does your presence quietly threaten certain people? Usually for reasons like these, because you expose the gap between who they are and who they pretend to be. Because your self-respect blocks the usual access points they rely on. Because your calm makes their inner noise louder. Because your growth forces them to confront what they are avoiding. Because your silence leaves room for projection. Because your integrity reminds them where they betray themselves. And because your presence destabilizes the superiority some people need in order to feel safe. That's the deeper truth. A lot of people are not reacting to your surface. They are reacting to what your presence awakens in them. And once you understand that, you stop over-personalizing certain forms of discomfort. You stop rushing to make yourself smaller, softer, easier, less clear, less powerful, because not every threatened reaction is a sign you are wrong. Sometimes it is just a sign that your presence carries a kind of truth certain people don't know how to stand near comfortably. And before I leave you, I want to bring that question back because I think this is the kind of topic that creates a very real comment section. What was the first sign that someone felt quietly threatened by your presence? Their silence, their fake niceness, their defensiveness, or the way they changed when other people were around? That answer usually tells the whole story. If this spoke to you, comment, "My presence says enough."